Banks County is located in northeast Georgia and has a total population of 18,395 people. This is a road on one of the residential areas in Banks County, and there's a lot of farming and agriculture in Banks County. There's a lot of cattle. There are not many sidewalks in Banks County, and the roads they're in pretty good condition, but they're not ideal for biking. There's no designated biking lanes, and also on a lot of the roads, there's some steep embankments going off to the side, which would make it difficult to bike or run or walk. And on this street, there is a sidewalk off to the left where people can run and walk. And this video was taken about 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. And as you can see, there's nobody out walking or running or biking. We didn't see anybody out exercising at all. This is just a video of some of the homes around Banks County. Some of them are in good condition and are nice looking, while others are not very well maintained. There's definitely a variety of houses in Banks County. And here's some more houses along the residential area in Banks County. And this is going into one of the main downtown areas in Homer, which is in Banks County. And as you can see, there's some sidewalks off to the left and right. And this is one of the only areas that have sidewalks, as well as in the previous clip that had sidewalks also. And this is a clip of just some of the restaurants that are in Banks County. And as you can see, there's a lot of fast food, Burger King, Checkers, Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. Just a lot of convenience stores, gas stations, and just with a lot of very unhealthy food options. And this is a video coming up on one of the schools in Banks County. This is the primary school. And as you can see, the building is in pretty good condition. It looks fairly new. And Banks County is a very small town, as I said before, and there's only a primary school, an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school. And this video right here is coming up on the elementary school. And this building is in good condition as well. It looks like it's well maintained, and it's fairly new. And this right here is the health department in Banks County. And as you can see, the building, it looks like it's in pretty good condition. It's fairly new looking. And this was taken on a Sunday afternoon, so there wasn't anyone in the parking lot area or around the health department. And this right here is one of the main restaurants in Banks County. It's called The Leopard. And they sell burgers and fries, just a fast food place.
My name is Stacy Morgan, and I am Nutrition Program Director for Banks County Schools.
Hey, I'm Donna Piper, and I'm the Cafeteria Manager at Banks County High School.
Yes,
Yeah.
increases yearly.
It does, yeah. I would say probably drastically over the last 10 years.
I think the largest contributor to childhood obesity is inactivity. I think a lot of the kids, they go home, they're sitting and they're eating. They don't go outside and play. They don't.
Right.
they're
Yeah.
not- And even here where there's so much land and they could get out and stuff, it's no different here. They are very inactive.
Well, too, and I'm sure, I mean, I know this is everywhere. It's not just in our county, but just the funding for like their connections classes where normally they would be doing PE every day. I know some of our students, I don't think everybody gets PE every day. Certainly not in the high school because they have so many other things that they're involved in, whether it be band or ROTC or whatever. So they don't necessarily have that as an elective every day. So if they're not doing anything at home and then they're coming to school and they're not having physical ed or some type of physical activity class every day, then they're pretty much not doing anything. And I certainly think a lot of that is because of the technology and video games and other things that kids are interested in now rather than just going outside and running around and playing. So many kids spend so many hours in front of the television and on video games. I mean, that seems to be like the biggest thing right now.
Well,
I think.
It's a trickle-down effect, too. I mean, the parents,
A lot of adults play those video
right,
games.
and
too.
That is very true.
there's a lot of kids at home without their parents, and parents are working, kids are home, and
Our school system is 67% free and reduced lunch. So almost 70% of our population meets the level for free and reduced lunch, which goes hand in hand with the poverty level, so or low income level. So I think certainly that makes them more at risk for not having those kind of experiences.
the rec department.
Yes. They offer all kinds of camps, like baton camps, cheer camps, basketball, soccer, pretty much everything, tennis, all the sports that you can pretty much think of. And a lot of our kids participate there because it is a very reasonable cost. I think there's even scholarship money available for camps and those kind of things. So a lot of the kids participate at the rec department.
And the church community is real big up here too. So in the summer, there's summer camps and Bible school.
And one of the local churches is doing a 5K run and I think a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We have what is that thing we have every year for the cancer?
Relay for Life?
Yes, the Relay for Life. They have a team here in the county, and that's really big. That's usually held at one of the schools. So a lot of the students participate in, different kinds of things to raise money for that. And usually it is something that involves physical activity. Either they're having a walk-a-thon or, whatever to raise money, or some kind of soccer tournament, or what is that, powder puff football or whatever, where they're switching roles, fun things like that. So, yeah. I mean, I think for as small as we are, we probably have as many resources as most people and programs for things like that, but it is limited because there's not, I don't know of a single, I guess there's a workout place at Commerce, but I don't even know if that's within our school district. We just have the rec department. We don't really have a workout facility in the community other than the high school, which they're really good, I think, about letting even the community use the weight room and stuff there. So there are some things there. Kind of thing. Our FFA is very big because this is a huge agriculture, lots of chicken farmers and cattle and pigs, and like we have pig shows You know, people say, pig show? I'm like,
And a
yeah,
lot of kids,
you bring your pig and show it. I mean, that's really what happens,
Yeah.
you know. So it's different in that respect. A lot of agricultural type things, but those things are good too. I think that keeps the kids active. There's a lot of work that goes into taking care of those animals and being responsible with those.
Yeah.
Miss Donna knows that. They have a farm, so it's farming is huge here, and a lot of hardworking people. Just not always a lot of money. You know, because their resources are limited. We don't have a lot of engineers. Wow, I could see that. Well, with the school system, I don't know. That's kind of hard to say because with curriculum, it's really hard. Their curriculum is so rigorous and so rigid. You know that. You're in college yourself. You know what the curriculum's like. It's become so rigorous that it's really hard to work things into the school day. You almost have to do it before school or after school. And there again, you know, some kids can't stay for those kind of things unless they have transportation. You know, so then we run into those issues. Or if there's younger siblings that. I know we had kids that couldn't be in 21st Century at the middle school and high school, but because they had to go home because there were kids at the younger schools that they had to get off the bus, and they were the child care for their younger siblings. But if we could have something, I think certainly in 21st Century, I think those kids would love, you know, Zumba and the karate and all those, you know, different kind of fine art, different kind of classes and stuff. I certainly know that program would be open to any of those things. It's just there again, we don't have a lot of those resources. We don't have a karate studio. We don't have a YMCA. We don't have a boys club. So a lot of times you're real limited even as to who you can bring in because we don't have those resources. So certainly if we had the money, my dream would be that we would have those instructors who could actually come to the school and provide those resources for the kids here at the school because most of their parents can't afford to go out and pay private. You know, I know my daughter was in gymnastics, and I know how expensive that was, but most of these parents could not afford, you know, for their child to do that. But if it was offered here at the school, through the school system, certainly I think we would have a lot of kids that would participate in things like that. I think the main thing is financial. They just don't have the money to do and the means to do those kinds of things. I mean, we have a lot. Well, our 21st Century program actually has a transportation component. We have 2 or 3 buses that cover the entire county. It's not over until 6 or 6:30, and they actually transport those kids home on the buses. So they're getting home some of them at 7:30 at night. They get on a bus at 6:30 in the morning, and they don't get off that bus until 7:30 at night. That's a long day. That's a 13-hour day. So that's another issue too. There's so much geographical area to cover that a lot of times it makes programs like that difficult, being able just to manage it.
I'm at the high school, so we had a lot of verbal
Opinions.
backlash to begin with. But do you know now that they're getting used to it, we don't have any of that, and kids that were, now they just ask and we tell them what we have to do, and it's fine with them. But they really are picking up more fruits and vegetables.
Right.
They are. They're seeing
Okay.
they can eat those and they fill them up and that they taste good.
Well,
And
and
we have very little complaints.
like we've added
Yeah.
garbanzo beans to salad. You know, and they're going, what are those things
But
on
when
our
they
salad?
taste 'em,
You know, but then they
yeah.
taste it and they're like, hey, that's pretty good. And we're
Yeah.
like, okay, good. Glad you liked it. You know, we'll have it again. So you just, you know, it's exposure. They're not used to a lot of those things. We've gone, even our salads look different because we don't use iceberg lettuce anymore because that doesn't count as a green leafy. You have to have a dark green. So we have a mixture of romaine and dark green leafy salad, and a lot of times they'll go, these look like leaves in here, you know, or whatever. I mean, it's just something off the wall. It's exposure because they're, you know, they're used, they go home, they get a head of iceberg lettuce and they cut it up, and that's what a salad is, you know. So we're just, it's exposure. They have to, it's new, but I do think they're adjusting well, and we've seen an improvement over, and especially with the fruits. I mean, they love the fruits.
They
It's
do.
just
They're-
taken a while but they really like it. They love the fruit.
In the schools, we're giving them good, nutritious meals. I think the big problem with childhood obesity starts at home.
Going back to the
And
family.
there's
Yeah.
a lack of
habits.
education, nutritional education with parents, so they're not giving it to the kids, and kids are eating things that aren't good for them.
Well,
You
and
know.
we all live such a fast-paced life.
Right, or eating fast food.
That everybody
Yeah.
runs through a drive-through. I mean, we're guilty. I ate
Right,
Arby's for
right.
lunch today, and I seldom do that, but I did today. Most of the time I ate in the cafeteria, but I didn't today. But you know, sometimes when you're in a hurry, that's just easier. You can run through, you know, and all these moms, they work. Most women work now, so they're getting their kids when they get home from school, and they're running them here and there to soccer practice, to church, or wherever they've got to be, Boy Scouts, whatever's going on. And so a lot of times they're running through drive-throughs and, you know, and they're not getting, but even our fast food restaurants, I think, are becoming more conscious. We're serving more sweet potato fries instead of, you know, deep fried, oil fried French fries or whatever. They're baking more. You see more baked chicken and grilled chicken and those kind of things instead of the breaded, fried. And we expose kids to those same things at school. I think it's exposure. Kids are not used to those kind of foods. It's about appearance.
Right.
It is all about how it looks. She said yesterday she put grapefruit out and they just looked at it and hardly nobody picked it up. So today they sliced a strawberry and put on it. And she was like, everybody was picking up the grapefruit. You know, so how funny is that? It's just, and that's kids. Well, and adults too. If you walk in and somebody's cooking something and it smells terrible and it looks terrible, you're probably not going to eat it. You know, so it is about appearance. Appearance is very important, even with nutrition. But we have good
We do
lunch
have pretty high
participation. We do,
participation, though,
we
anyway.
do. It's above 70% at all of our schools.
That's good.
It's
That's
like
really
mid 70s at least, and some schools even 80s, in the mid 80s. So we have pretty good participation. With the new meal pattern, though, I have seen more students bring in their lunch. And honestly, I really don't know why that is. I guess media. I mean, we all know what a role media plays, and a lot of times, you know, it sounds very negative and whatever. And so, I don't know, for whatever reason, we do have more parents who this year have been fixing, especially in the lower grades.
Yeah, high school.
They fix their kids' lunches.
They're either gonna
No.
eat there. or
They're
eat
either going to eat out the
machine.
snack machine or
Yeah.
lunch, or they're not going to eat at high school. But in the lower grades, I have seen more parents fixing their kids' lunches. And, you know, that's kind of sad because every day they're eating the same thing. They're eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or they're eating a ham sandwich. Well, typically, most of the time, we have some kind of sandwich to offer in the cafeteria. So, you know, they could be.
It's probably
eating there, but-
cheaper.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely cheaper. You cannot eat the meal we serve anywhere for the cost. Yeah, it's pretty cheap food. You can't get much less than that. So. I don't think education is the key to everything.
Right.
I mean, you educate parents, and then I think you're going to see that trickle
Yeah.
on down. Yeah. Yeah, because I think a lot of parents, you know, that's how they grew up. They don't know any different. I mean, they're just doing what their
Well,
parents
yeah.
taught them, and you know, it just
Generations
keeps
and
it just
generations.
keeps going. So certainly, I think parenting classes. I think that's an awesome idea, and there probably is some of that maybe through the health department or through Family Connections, but I don't ever see any of those people really reaching out to the school system and doing things in the school. But certainly, if that could be a part of the school. I know one system that I used to work in, we had community ed, which was it was adult ed classes that they offered through the school system. But we've not had any adult ed classes that I know of since I've worked in this county.
No, but I do think that's where it would have to take place, is in the school system. But I've only lived up here for about 4 years, and I can see now that different areas people eat differently.
Right. A lot of it's culture.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I know that, people from Banks County are used to eating differently than people in Atlanta, or some.
Yeah.
Like biscuits.
Tell them
and-
what you mean by that.
Biscuits
Well,
and
I
gravy.
mean, like,
It's gotta be fried.
Biscuits and gravy or
And
manna-
sausage,
or
we
the
want that
manna
every
from
day.
heaven.
That's right.
And sweet.
Bacon.
I don't mean sweet tea. I mean
Sweet tea, like 7 cups of sugar.
So that is what people, and the kids and their parents and their grandparents, that's what they've been raised on. That's what they know how to cook, and they cook it well.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's just a different, you just have to re-educate and just show
Because
availability of
we've
different
introduced
things.
yogurt
Right.
for breakfast. We've introduced bagels with cream cheese, different fresh fruit, a fruit cup for breakfast with granola or whatever. Well, our kids are used to eating sausage, biscuit, and gravy every day.
Right.
They're looking at this like, what? What is this? You want us to eat this for breakfast?
Now,
So,
when I first came,
a lot of
wanted
it is
yogurt
exposure.
in the school. See, even the ladies in my cafeteria that work with me didn't know what yogurt. Why would we want to eat that?
Right.
This year, the first day of school, we had bagels and cream cheese. The kids did not eat them.
Really?
They, what in the world that was. So, but now, we are going through 2 cases of bagels on a Monday morning. So we're serving close to 200, we're doing, and now they're eating them. So it's just, the kids are getting exposed, so we need their parents to be exposed so they can work with, we only have them for a little short time.
Right.
So if the parents could work on it at home too,
House, we did, especially this year, we had something about the new meal pattern and to explain to them how it was changing and that every child has to take a half a cup of fruit or vegetable. That has to be part of their components on their tray for it to be a reimbursable tray, which means that it meets
That's
USDA and federal.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times parents, they don't know those kinds of things. So we did, with all that being new, we've done a lot of things. We've probably sent home more this year and put more things on the website to try and educate the parents to get the word out there, because a lot of times all they ever hear is what is on the media. And it's not to say that that's not true, but we all know that's not always the whole truth. You want to go beyond that and make sure that you are giving them the complete truth and that they're well educated on that. And that's been a challenge. I admit that's been a huge challenge this year. And with me being a new director, there was only so much I felt like I could take on at one time. But in the future, I would like for us to get a newsletter going just for the nutrition department that maybe goes home once a month, where we can kind of update them. Because even just recently, we've received some changes on the grain and meat alternate requirements. And so things like that are constantly coming down from USDA. A single dietitian, unless we have one I wouldn't think we have one at the health department. I don't think MedLink would have one.
But
We
the
don't
school
have
system?
a dietitian in the school system.
well, like the
Really?
managers, we don't have
Mm-mm.
degrees.
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow.
And
So I guess commerce.
There's
would be-
certification that goes with
Like
it.
nutritionists
Like
and-
ServSafe,
Yeah, of
those
course.
kinds of things. But as far as a degree
Dietary degree,
and having
we don't
no,
have to
we don't
have
have
that to be a
anyone.
manager.
We don't have anyone who has. Absolutely. I would think any school system would say that if they had the funds, certainly. And a lot of systems have gone to having a person who is, they call them a coordinator. Most of the systems that I've seen, that's the label that's on them. But pretty much all they do is they make the menus. Because this has become so complicated that truly you need to have a degree in nutrition or dietary, something in that area, just to be able to create these menus. It is so complicated. So a lot of the bigger systems have a coordinator who does nothing but create menus and menu analysis, like the nutritional analysis.
Oh,
'Cause see,
yeah.
I'm sure y'all know about that.
Too
Every
much.
single menu. Now you think about how many meals and menus they
Oh, yeah.
create goes into this spreadsheet. It's an Excel spreadsheet where it breaks it down. And we were given that Excel spreadsheet by the State Department. But of course, like anything else you get in technology, it never works like you think it's going to. So it had to be tweaked for several months before we finally got it to where they actually now can plug the stuff in and it works. And when you put the right amount of serving in there, it gives you blah, blah. I mean, it calculates everything. But it's still a pretty complicated process, and you're asking people to do this who some of them have no more than a high school education, so it's very difficult. A lot of their knowledge is just from working in the field of nutrition.
So my name's Taylor Truelove, and I work at Homer Drug Company in Banks County. We do have some that are type 2 diabetics, that isn't hereditary, and they're on things, anti-diabetics like metformin.
Yeah.
Some of them have even advanced on to, they've become insulin dependent. Definitely obesity. Probably a sedentary lifestyle. Eating, you're in the country, everybody's eating fried food or going to the Leopard down the street and having a hamburger for lunch every day.
Okay.
You got the farmers here that get out in the fields and work, but a lot of folks are very, sedentary, and they gain weight that way and nutrition with their eating. We sure do. This pharmacy is owned by Kim and Zeb Bost, and they also have another pharmacy in Commerce. It's called Tigertown. And Kim actually has her, she's a diabetes specialist and an educator that she's been accredited for. And so she used to actually do diabetes education classes at the other pharmacy. So she does those. She does weight loss seminars. Usually that is pushing a product, like the Mono-V, things of that nature. But in her diabetes classes, she talks about nutrition, carbohydrates, things like that, and exercise. Right. No. Northridge would be the fastest. It serves Jackson County and Banks County.
Okay. Wow.
And then most people opt to go to Gainesville, Northeast Georgia, or St. Mary's or Athens Regional. 75 to 80.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I mean, a very large amount. I think if we had the time and I guess the energy to do the classes for free, that would be beneficial. I think, and I guess this is true of every area, a lot of times patients gotta want to change for anything to happen, and that's really nothing that I feel like I can encourage that as a pharmacist, but I can't make them do it.
Yeah.
So I guess providing information to patients on what the outcomes are if you're obese, that you're higher risk of having hypertension, diabetes, stroke, things of that nature, heart disease, cardiovascular problems. But a lot of times they'll attend those education classes and think, oh, well, I'll apply this to my life, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think number one, I would tread lightly somewhat. I don't want to, tell them, hey, you've got an obese child, I see.
Show them ranges.
Right, but if they were on blood pressure medicine and they were below the age of 17 or 18, and if they had diabetes type 2 before the age of 18, I think that's during your counseling time with that patient or with that patient's caregiver, whether it be their parent or whatnot. I think dietary changes, exercise, would definitely need to be discussed. And hopefully at some point, if they lost X amount of pounds, they'd be able to roll off that metformin or improve their blood pressure where they could come off of,
Not being insulin.
you know, those
dependent.
anti-hypertensive
Yeah.
drugs.
Okay.
Which, but you know, I think this is true everywhere. Is people want the quick fix on that pill, and if their blood pressure's high, then they'd rather take a pill than exercise or watch their sodium intake.